Okay, so I guess we'll start.
Okay.
This photo was actually taken on a road trip that I went on with my family. We started off in Colorado, drove up to North Dakota, and then drove to Yellowstone, and then back down to what's it called? Salt Lake City. And when we stopped in Yellowstone, we stopped at the Grand Tetons for I think 3 nights, and it was in this like half tent thing where it's basically the skeleton, a heater, and like a tarp over it, and like bunk beds.
Wow. Cool.
So for me and my mom, that was like a really fun experience. But for my grandma, she really, really wanted a hotel. um, and my grandpa, he's a really funny guy. He's just like, wow, I feel like I'm back in the army. um, and for this photo specifically, I think this was this first, we got there in the afternoon, and like the first day I decided to wake up. Oh, there's echo. Sorry. I decided to wake up at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., right before the sun started to rise. And I hiked maybe a mile and a half or so through mostly forests, like here on the right. And I got to this lake area, and just as the sun was coming up, I kind of set up a tripod and got like maybe 10 different shots, mostly bracketing. Came back. Well, actually, when I came back to Cyprus at the time, that's when I actually put these together. And one of these I printed on, it was like this fine art paper that made colors look like they were watercolor. And I think that was the best printed version of this image that really accurately like states what it felt like to be there when it was like 30 degrees, like only some wind that you could hear and rustling of leaves. And I think I saw a couple deer on that day too. Yeah, it was really nice. Yes, David, you're right. I used about we all used like $5,000 worth of paper, but but yeah.
I was commenting that's a great picture of the Grand Tetons. Never seen that point of view before. The Grand Tetons has always been straightforward or with the river involved. I've been there at least a couple of times, so seeing that point of vantage point it really took me a different perspective. That's a pretty cool shot. How are you doing that? It's cool.
Okay, so this one um, is actually an older one. I think the last image was from 2018, I believe. Yeah, May 2018. This one's from, I want to say 2012, I think. Um, this was actually taken on my mom's film camera at the time that she later gave to me. Um, and her and I were on this road trip, just us, to the Grand Canyon. And this is actually the Grand Canyon at right after first snowfall. I wanted to find a way to make sure that you could see the Grand Canyon um, from a different vantage point than just the tourist area, but also notice that there's snow because I think, I mean, yeah, I think you could see there's that red layer right where that's right under a layer of white, and that's actually not like sand or that's not dirt. That's all snow. Um, it was really cool to see that, especially in some areas when it went down to a certain point, and then you could see the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and it's like completely untouched by snow. Um, so I wanted to capture that a bit. Yeah.
sure you hear me or not, but is that at North Rim Grand Canyon or is that at South Rim? Just curious.
I think it's South Rim.
Wow, I never seen snow at South Rim before. Maybe North Rim, maybe once, but it was very small amounts. That's
Neither
really
did,
cool.
neither did we. I think my mom went to the Grand Canyon twice before, and she's never seen snow. Actually, I have a pretty funny story later, or later after this day. We made the mistake of waiting till like sunset because we really wanted, to get photos and stuff and be there as long as possible. And we didn't realize that the 14 miles that it takes to get out of like the national park area didn't have any streetlights. So it was just us in like a 2008 Honda CRV with the heater turned all the way up and like possible black ice, like just snow and trees and like moonlight for miles and miles. We both love horror movies, so she was really freaked out by it. And so we were driving and driving, and I'm like starting to fall asleep. So we were hiking all day, and suddenly my mom like screams and like wakes me up, and I look to our left, and there's a dude in like a neon jacket, like a neon red North Face jacket or whatever, just walking towards us on the street, not on the street, but on, next to the street. So we just passed by, and she's like, "What happened? Who was that?" I'm like, "We already passed him. It doesn't matter." He's probably like a serial killer or something. No, he's probably just hiking, like. But it was still freaky to see that. And then I think maybe a mile later we suddenly see a tree stump that's like on fire as we go by, and it was just the freakiest thing to see. But to me it kind of made sense. I mean, if a guy's hiking, I mean, I was freaked out too because there's nobody else around. It's dead silent. But yeah, we made it to the hotel that night and was just so exhausted, and they were so nice to us in Flagstaff. And yeah, it was a great road trip. Great road trip.
That's an amazing story, man. Comical, but pretty freaky at the same time. Thank you for sharing, by the way. That's pretty amazing. Oh man, I would have died and like, oh hell no.
It was freaky. It was freaky.
I'm sure. I know exactly which road you're talking about. You're talking towards, I think, driving towards Carmen, Arizona.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember that road. I was actually at the Grand Canyon a couple years ago with my girlfriend, and yeah, that road is pretty dark. I mean, yeah. You know exactly what you mean. Good times, man. Thank you again for sharing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Okay, this one. This one's pretty interesting. This was taken, I'm trying to think, 2013, I think. Yeah, 2013. I went on I don't want to say adventure, more like a journey to Ecuador to see my family see my family and explore like the entire country with my grandfather. It was just us, and we spent, I think, 2 weeks. Yeah, like 2 weeks there. We started where my family was in Guayaquil, drove/flew all the way up to like Quito, the capital, in the mountains, and then like took buses all the way east to the edge of the Amazon. I think that's where this was taken, either on the way from the Amazon area or to the Amazon area. But there's just so many fields over there, like on top of these mountains. Like, if this was actually taken from a bus too, so like if you were to turn around, it's just the road and then maybe a little more grass field and then like 1,000 to 2,000 foot like drop. So it was really cool to just get the opposite view of what everyone was kind of looking at, or like the grand landscape that I couldn't really capture because there's of course people in my way in the aisles and whatnot. But it was really nice to see some cows that were like, they looked happy, that um and yeah, that was just a great trip. Unfortunately, on the way to the Amazon, one of my cameras got stolen, and at the time that was like my only I think I had a Canon T5i, and T3i, and like that was my first like digital camera, and I just by that time we were halfway through our trip. We went to like the Galapagos and everything, and I took all these photos, and then like we fell asleep, and my camera bag was taken out from under me. They grabbed the camera and the lens, and then they put it back. So I didn't realize until we got to the hotel that it was all gone, and I was so pissed. So pissed. But you live and you learn. But this was taken on one of my point and shoots that I had for like a few years at that time. Yeah, I haven't printed this yet. I want to. The quality was like not the best as it's comparable to some of the quality of my work now, but I do want to go back and like retouch some of this, reduce the noise, and then probably print it. Yeah. Okay, this one. This is actually taken with the same camera as the other one. This is little. I had this, and I was maybe 11 or 12. It's a Canon SureShot SX230 HS. I'm not one to like be heavily reliant on gear, but it's just this is like a camera that my mom and dad were like, okay, we'll get you a better camera, or we can talk about a better camera if you can have this, hold on to it, for like long enough. And it's still in working condition to this day. So that's pretty nice. But this one was taken in 2019, I think. It was just like a really nice day at the beach, and we decided, me and my friend Michael decided to go for a hike up near Baker Beach, where there's like all these heritage trees, and it's really nice, and it like curves out to a certain point to where you can get a really nice shot of the Golden Gate Bridge that's not from like the mainland area. It's just kind of off to the side, and right when we were about to leave, like the fog started to roll in, or Carl started to roll in, and like usually it covers the top of the bridge, but this time it was just laying real low. And I was like, I don't really have that many shots of the Golden Gate Bridge specifically because I want to stray away from the typical, front shots or like the Marin shots. I might actually change my mind just because I want to shoot on film, but but this one specifically was really nice, and I think I printed it, and it actually turned out really good after I interpolated a few times and got rid of most of the noise and increased some of the sharpness. Yeah, this was a really nice trip. Really hike, I guess. Oh, this this one was it wasn't necessarily a road trip, I guess. I just kind of threw this one in here because it's really funny. This is actually a house in Berkeley. they I don't know why, but I was there and excuse me. I'm sorry, something came up. So I was there at like damn, sorry, I'm trying to think. Right. Okay. So my girlfriend and I went to Berkeley together. She was in like a conference, and I was basically just looking through thrift shops, walking around Berkeley because I never really walked around that area. And on the way down to like the main street, there's all these houses, and there's like it's like half forest, half hill, half house. Not unlike Man Bear Pig, but combination of them. um, and there's a lot of these houses that looked like that in the background, but just had trees. Maybe had like a booty staffa right there or something. But for some reason, I walked past, looked to my right, and there's like this weird alien-looking thing and a UFO crashed in front of this house. And I just thought it was so great. I'm like, I have to do it, but I have to take a photo of this. But I took this on my Fuji XT2, which at the time I really was still in love with. I still love it, but like I love it. I'm just not as in love with it anymore. um, and I used the setting to take a panorama a few times, and one of these actually turned out exactly the way I wanted it to, where the highlights were still not in focus, but exposed properly. The shadows were exposed just enough um, to where you can kind of hide the alien right above it, but like it's not the first thing you notice. You notice the sun person at first. Um, and yeah, I want to print this. I want to print this really big because it's actually a huge file. I think it's 300 megs. um, but yeah, this one. This was taken on the same road trip as the first one. This was up in Yellowstone, where on the main roads you have to like stop for bison. It's really funny actually. I mean, just being there is really funny because you'll wonder why there's so much traffic, and then you like look way ahead, and there's just bison just staring at cars just in the way. um, and I wanted at the time I think I just took Rob Johnson's class, and I just shot on large format for the first time, and I was like, looking up different videos and stuff about. I mean, I already knew about like wet plates and stuff like that, but like I wanted to mimic that. I still had a mentality left over from like high school where because I didn't have access to film, like sheet film at the time, or like a sheet camera, um, or 8x10 camera, I would say. I wanted to mimic that in digital, so that's kind of what my approach was in this. I took this on my digital T5i at the time, and like I went into Photoshop, made it larger, sharper, and twisted it, the exposure around and some of the levels just to make it look just right. I didn't add like the daguerreotype like drops and smudges and stuff, but I just kind of wanted this just to look like its own thing, but mistakably um, like a large format image.
That's a great scene that you took at Yellowstone. It really is. It looks like one of the I don't know exactly what you mean by the traffic when the bison holds up the roads. My
Yeah.
brother my brother was there more recently than I was, like like a year ago too. He was mentioning it took him about like 6 hours to get back to the hotel because of bison on the road. I'm serious, 6 hours. He didn't get back to the hotel like 1 in the morning or something like that.
Oh man.
Pretty wild. But
There came, I was able to get, I think, 20 to 30 feet away from a bison. But as I was inching closer and like I was hiding behind like, a tree stump, my mom turns around from the road and is like, Frank, what are you doing? And the bison like starts to look up and I'm just, stop it, be quiet. I was doing so good, just be quiet. I get a couple shots, but I didn't think they were as good as this one. And then I head back to the car.
well done, man. Well done. It's a beautiful shot.
Thank you. This one is, I guess you could say it's one of my new favorites that I'm like currently still in love with. Just because of the realism it kind of gives for me. And I'll tell you some more background on this one. This was taken on one of my newer cameras, a Pentax 645. It's my first, I guess, legit medium format camera. I have a Holga, but I haven't used it at all. And like, I like the thought of using glass more than plastic. But this was, I think, week 3 into quarantine. My partner and I were like, we're just really cooped up. We've been doing our part, and like maybe, we should like rent a car and go up to Marin or something, and it'll just be us. We don't need to come in contact with other people. We'll wipe down the car before and after, and we did, and it was great. We wanted to go to Muir Beach at first, but it was like closed off. It said locals only and on signs and stuff. So we're like, oh damn, that sucks. We kept driving up past Mount Tam and then came on the other side, and we found a couple places to just stop along the way of like maybe a 2-mile road and just basically listen to the ocean, listen to nature, and like get exactly what we needed, because we were tired of just hearing sirens and some people yelling on the street, like the same, 4 walls for 3 weeks at that point. So this was like exactly what we needed. We had a long, good discussion, had a mini picnic, and like it was starting to get cold when I was able to pull out my camera, and like it was really hard to load the film if you know how to load like the film backs. It's just one thing wasn't getting right, and then I would put the film on the spool, and then as I would load it, it would come undone and not rewind, and it was just a lot. But after going back to the car to like do it without the wind and then coming back out, I got it. And I think I shot this stop overexposed on a Fuji Pro 400H. Um, I was gonna develop it at home, but I just didn't have the what's it called, like the glass or plastic bottles for my chemistry, so I just decided to send it out. Was actually sent out to Blue Moon Camera in Portland, and they've always been really great. So shout out to Blue Moon. And yeah, this is just an image that I just I mean, I love all my images, but like right now I just really love this because it feels for me exactly what I want to accomplish with my photography, with being able to show exactly what my intent is. And have that passion behind it. I felt like some of my older photography, I was trying to make it more relatable and like make it more vibrant than what it really was. There's nothing really wrong with that for whoever wants to do that, but like it just didn't describe me as well as some of my photography is now. And this actually, this is the image that I want to print, like I think 20 by 30, and put up on actually this wall right above our bed. So I really want to do that as soon as possible. Once a couple more places open up, and I'll be able to go and print it big, because me and my friends don't have a printer that size.
What I really love about this one is like the longer you look at it, the more like gray it starts to look. Like the blue looks so gray sometimes that I just have to keep looking and telling myself that's blue, even though it's like tripping me out, you know?
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
Thank you. Is that all of them? Thanks, David.
Say hi. Did you get a good seat in hell?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is what it looks like outside.
It looks really warm.
Very.
Oh, am I on? Is this my time to shine? Oh, hello everybody. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Is it my turn to talk about Frank's work?
Sure.
No, you go right ahead.
Well, that one of the buffalo was taken in 1865 on our Oregon Trail down to California.
Yeah.
That was the last buffalo. We killed it for dinner. Then one of us died of dysentery. And we buried him and wrote a funny name on his tombstone, and then just kind of went on to the next part of the Oregon Trail.
Later that night, we had to take him up and eat him.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't travel that day. We just went in a big circle, and then when we came back, we realized we were at the grave again, so we just ate him.
Yeah.
Is this your background on all of your Zoom conversations, David?
Oh no, this is special just for you. I will say that when I do my Zoom meetings, I go out of my way to make sure my backgrounds are special.
It's awesome. I'm kind of torn between yours
Karen
and...
wants to talk to the manager. Does Karen want to say something?
No, Karen's fine.
I love that last picture, Frank. I mean, I love them all, but I really love that last picture, and I can't say why I do. But I chose that as when I kind of advertised this, I just randomly chose that picture, and I didn't realize it was kind of heavy what you said. I mean, that is currently like sort of what you're trying to, like you like it, and that's a tough thing, right? To like a thing you made.
To genuinely like it, yeah. On the surface, yeah, of course. I'll hype myself up. Yeah, this is the best photo I've ever taken. This is the best photo I've ever taken. but yeah, genuinely, it's one that I'm really proud of, that I really like, and I feel describes me better than some of my photography has in the past.
And I also feel like you could look at that picture for a long time and not get bored of it. I don't know why, but there's something about that picture that's sort of really cool. I mean, really deep, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to get bored of it pretty quickly. It worked okay for me.
It lasted a little longer than the others.
It did, yes.
It lasted longer.
Well, it's just because I was trying to stare at where the horizon was. It was just like gray on gray, so it like took a while.
It had such a print thing about it too, even though that obviously, right, that was not a print, correct? That was just a scan of film, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it had a print thing about it somehow. Like, is that
I mean,
was that on purpose, or is that just because you do so much printing that your stuff looks that way now in digital? Or
that's something that I'm trying to actually implement. After the past couple years, my experience with printing, I'm like, okay, viewing things on screens is not going to go away, especially now. So what if I am able to bring printing a little bit more to the digital realm?
right?
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
Pretty okay, I guess.
You remember to call
Hard
grain noise and noise grain?
Yes.
Because that's literally all you need to know.
Yeah.
Say that again, Butts Carlton. What was that?
Oh, you need to know when you're talking about digital prints, you call the grain noise, but when you're talking about analog prints, you call the noise grain. That's
Mhm.
very important according to some of the classes I've had.
Right. Is it proper to do that, to print, if you're a good printer, to make all your digital stuff look like prints? Is that a proper thing, or does it really not even matter?
Oh, I don't know. Do we have a good printer here?
Shouldn't your
Anyone?
images just look like your images?
Right.
Print or digital?
Mhm.
Right. But printing obviously influenced Frank's eye, right? Because he's been printing, and he's like, I can't do this digitally. So he's beginning to put that aesthetic. Is that correct, Frank? Are you using that aesthetic in your digital
Yeah. Yeah.
approach? Right.
But I think
Everything influences all of our vision, and we should bring that influence to everything that we do.
right.
Print or digital. The delivery medium of the photo is somewhat irrelevant in the fact that we should create the images that we want to create in the way that we want them to be created.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'd agree with that. The delivery images, yeah, is irrelevant. That's true. Right. Right. Well, maybe I caught that because I've been doing a lot of printing lately. I kind of saw a printing aesthetic in that last image, which I liked. Like, I felt like it worked for me.
Thank you.
Dude, you've been doing a lot of printing lately? I barely showered.
Well, I did a lot of printing until they kicked me out of Cypress College, and then yeah,
I did
literally
that too. Only it was like 3 years ago that I got kicked out. So
yeah.
Definitely went out with a bang.
yeah, got the last laugh though. Took that $5,000 worth of paper and ran.
Did you?
Well, don't like record my confession or anything, but yeah.
Oh, it's broadcast live to
Yes,
everyone.
Facebook Live.
Oh well.
I love the stories too.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
No, I was going to say I love Frank's stories. Because I'm trying to put one of these together myself, and I had a really hard time finding, even 7 pictures that I liked that I've ever shot. Road wise and a story. Was it hard for you to do this, Frank, or easy?
It was a little difficult, just because I wasn't sure if it should be just one road trip with 7 photos or like multiple road trips. And then once I was actually digging through my archives, I was like, actually, shit, I've been on a lot of road trips. I didn't even notice. And there's like, a couple key points or like actually good stories that I guess in previous Zoom meetings this past year, I've just been rambling on about random stuff that I could actually tell and accurately tell that contribute to the photo, and at least for me,
Right. It was really cool.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I was, oh my God. Anybody who has to follow Frank, we should all be worried. That's all
I hope so, just a little bit, but maybe we can do another one after a few people have gone. So.
I have about 8 to 12 people that have submitted photos, and it's not a submission. I'm just, anybody wants to do it. I want to do it, And some are photographers, some aren't. And it's so amazing the different approaches people have to imagery. Like some people really go for a more stylized thing. Other people go for a more natural thing, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see all the different expression.
I think Lydia would be interested in contributing.
I think Lydia would not be interested in contributing.
Too late. You got contributed.
Uh, My body, my choice. It's a no for me, dog. Lydia has exited the chat.
Shame, because Lydia goes on great road trips.
That's cool. Roll is not saying a word. I love not.
His,
yeah. Is he even here?
I think he's just listening because.
Which one?
Yeah, Rich.
I call him Raul too because I met him after I met you. So, but I love his.
Like that name.
I love his screenshot. Like it's.
Yeah.
I thought it was him for a long time. So I guess he uses this for his Zoom classes.
Yeah. Really great idea, honestly. I think I saw something on Instagram where there's a kid who put reconnecting as his name. So when he took it off the video, people just thought that he was reconnecting.
Clever.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
He says he's got chores. He's just listening. That's cool. So, David, best Star Wars.
You always throw me in the Star Wars bus. Other movie series that I watch. Best Star Wars. I'm gonna go with The Last Jedi, just so Frank can say "fuck you."
The Last Jedi.
Any thoughts on that, Frank?
That was the latest one, right?
No, that was the one that you hated. That was the one with Mary Poppins Leia floating through space.
That wasn't The Last Skywalker?
No, that was The Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Oh, right.
It's been a while, but yes, I hated that one so much. That's up there with Solo, or down there with Solo, I would say.
Dude, Solo had Childish Gambino.
Okay, Childish Gambino made it actually good.
That's like saying I like Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace, but the rest of the movie can suck it.
Exactly.
Actually, that is true. So no, I take it back.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yoda was pretty cool, but it felt weird.
Yeah.
Hashtag not my Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah.
When is that coming out?
That is coming out in October with an asterisk.
Ooh.
It's the only reason I have Disney Plus.
It's a damn good reason.
Yeah.
Apparently, Timothy Oliphant is going to play the fake Boba Fett, which I'm actually looking forward to. I was wondering if they were going to address that because that's been in the books for a while.
Right. For a second, I thought you were going to say Timothy Chalamet.
Me too.
You kids, this generation.
You're what, 4 years older?
Yeah. Yes, I am 4 years older than you. I am celebrating my 16th, 28th birthday coming up soon.
Oh, awkward. I'm 12, so I thought you were 16.
Aw. You just wanted me to go drive you to go to Malt, didn't you?
No, it was actually the cemetery. I've been really wanting to make my appearance there. Thought you would enjoy it.
I do. I like going to the cemetery for those midnight Rocky Horror shows.
Really makes my night.
Uh-oh, Frank just thought of something.
Yeah.
I literally just saw an idea bulb go above your head.
Me too. I physically was like, oh, hey.
So I was able to find, what does this say on here? A 1975 print of Rocky Horror.
Oh.
Ooh. Ooh,
You
nice.
see it, Frank? Like live?
It's badass.
I've seen it live twice, 3 times, I think. Yeah, I've seen it with my girlfriend the first time, and her friend, and then the second time I watched it with my friend Michael, his wife, my girlfriend, and
And who was sitting next to you on the third time?
I think my girl.
Questions.
Your other girlfriend, David?
Yes.
I'm only his girlfriend when his girlfriend's 300 or more miles away. It's the rule of out of the district, right?
I really miss Rocky Horror. I hope that we're able to, go to a couple shows around October.
Asterisk.
Yeah, that'd be tough, right? Rocky Horror socially distanced show.
The first time I saw it was in Perks of Being a Wallflower. Not saw it, but was exposed to it. And then the first time I saw it was with my girlfriend, who's seen it maybe 5 times before. It was her thing, and now it's like our thing.
It's amazing how long that's been. I mean, we used to go to that when I was a kid, like 40
Mhm.
years ago, 50
Yeah,
years
you
ago.
realize that Frank is basically saying he first heard of it 3 years ago, right?
Yes. Well, I think I've heard of it, but I just didn't know what it was, and then I saw a snippet of it.
And then I'm like, ooh, Emma Watson's in this.
Yes. And now every time I see it, I'm waiting for Emma Watson to come out.
Yeah. And The Flash.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that movie.
The Justice League?
Yep.
Dude, just wait. The Snyder Cut's coming out. It's going to be like a 6-hour miniseries now.
God. I saw Aquaman a week ago, and it was terrible.
It wasn't that bad, as far as DC movies go.
Yeah, as far as DC. Except it's I watched it after seeing the Joker, so I actually have high hope in DC.
Okay. Yeah, you can't watch the Joker and then follow it up with anything.
Any DC movie. Dark
Yeah.
Knight series, I guess.
Maybe Shazam.
Maybe.
Shazam.
Have you seen that one yet?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I got to say on DC. Next subject.
Well, I have a novice question about Star Wars.
Okay.
Because I was watching Return of the Jedi last night.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have Disney Plus, and again, the only reason I have it is for Mandalorian.
Okay.
And so why does Yoda turn to vapor when he dies?
Because that was how they established Jedi dying back then.
Oh, that's not very fun, David.
Well, I mean, that's literally all it is.
Don't you have
They're
some
like, hey,
nerdy
Obi-Wan
answer?
died this way, so I guess Yoda dies this way. And then Vader, maybe?
Vader? Did he die that way?
We don't
did
know
disappear.
because
They kind of cut away before we kind of knew, but then he came back as depending on which version you watch, as an old man or as a older Hayden
Anakin.
Christensen.
Right.
So implying that he could have died that way.
Okay, so it's a Jedi thing.
But you couldn't tell because of his armor and his
His
bionic.
respirator.
Yeah, his respirator and stuff.
Right. His harmonica.
Yeah.
You can tell that it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away because they were burning respirators back then. We can't afford to do that nowadays. They just threw that thing in a funeral pyre. Like, no one's going to need this ever again. It's not like we got viruses in the future or in the past.
This is now justified why Kylo Ren holds on to Darth Vader's respirator.
I never thought about that.
Oh, don't even get me started on Ben Swallow, man.
Well, I'm gonna head out, but it was nice to meet all of you. Frank,
all right.
You
great
too,
work
Lydia.
as always.
Always, Star Wars chases the last girl out of the room.
Yep.
Oh, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put we're gonna
Yes,
use
gender issues, gender labels.
Gender labels. It's a good
Yeah.
one. I'll see you at the mall though.
All right. I'll pick you up to get that malt.
Oh, sounds good. I think they have sales right now, so if we could leave soon, that'd be nice.
All right. Yeah,
buy
that's
all the
they did
dresses.
just open up.
See you guys later.
Bye.
All right, let's see who we can alienate next. Raul looks pretty bored there in his still picture.
Ouch.
I love the. I don't normally like backgrounds, but that one, that's pretty badass. The flame.
Hold on, we are talking about Star Wars. Let me change it to this one.
Nice.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I told you I go out of my way to make sure that my backgrounds are fun.
So how does one do a back? Because my sister does the background, and her face always sort of envelops into the background, and you can see like a nose. And how do you?
Well,
How does,
I actually have separate lighting just for me. And actually, this is a little warm, so let me change it to.
He's a photographer.
There, that's cooler. That matches the aesthetics of the light.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I'm a photographer. This is what I think about half the time.
So does the real background have to be darker or lighter than you? Probably darker, right? That better?
You know,
It-
honestly, I haven't really been able to figure out the algorithm because when you go into green mode and you have an actual green screen behind you, it doesn't quite work that way. So
Right.
the algorithm for Zoom is just really good at cutting out the human shape.
It's amazing. Like it just, yeah, right. How's it doing that? That's like freaking amazing.
Sounds like a 3D mapping here. The room sounds like to me. That's what it's doing.
That would make sense because the room wouldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the automatic algorithm is doing 3D mapping the room, and
Nope, I'm moving the room. I'm still in there.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's definitely like 3D mapping to me. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Hold on, I'm hitting turbulence.
That's great.
Better and faster with doing that, because I remember
Yeah,
when
that's
the
just
iPhoto booth or whatever came out.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we only had 3 megapixels to worry about back then, so
Yeah, exactly.
it's like which square do you want to click off?
You'd have to get out of the frame. It would map the room, and then you hop in it,
Yeah.
and it still wouldn't be as good as this, but
Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, Ken, this counts as me returning your calls.
Yeah, my God. I got a hold of Stamos. I got a hold of everybody I know. Just, checking up on people. Just,
You know my rule. I
which is-
don't do what Stamos does.
I just was like, hey, I haven't seen David in a while. What's going on with him? My God, you're harder to get a hold of than Adam
Dude,
Sandler. I mean,
Honestly, what it is I've reversed my sleeping. Time means nothing to me, and you've just been calling on the days that I've like slept in, and then I don't
Okay.
get to you, and I'm like, it's kind of rude to call this late, and then I forget.
so you've been doing the COVID sleep pajama thing? Is that what it is?
I've been doing the COVID, just don't give a fuck about anything. Like
I kind of got that idea.
David,
it's been challenging. This is really the first week that I've come out of my hole at all.
he's been trying to transcend into the Animal Crossing realm.
Oh, don't even get started on Animal Crossing. You thought Star Wars was a
That's so
boring
good.
topic that isolates everybody.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing will.
I love that. He's trying to transcend into the Animal Crossing.
I mean, I am.
That is so
I
fucking good,
totally
dude.
am.
That is
Dude,
so
I was up till
fucking
5 a.m. so I wouldn't miss my turnips.
You could time travel in Animal Crossing.
No, that is cheating. There's no time traveling if you are doing it right.
It's not cheating. You should see my. If you don't see cheating,
The
you see what my friend
definition
has.
of
And
cheating. Dude,
I
they
live.
are releasing patches to keep you from time traveling. That is the definition of cheating.
That's sad. They had to do patches. That's the oldest trick in the book.
They did the last patch. It keeps you from time traveling to more than one time on the same day.
Interesting.
That's
This
pity.
is good. This is really good.
That's really
Oh, we lost Karen. Karen just evacuated the whole city to get out of this.
Yo.
Oh my God. So I've been trying to buy a new or even a used like iMac, and the thing I learned is that it's no problem with toilet paper. There are no electronics. Like I can't buy an iMac. I tried to buy my kids a Xbox One. Every game stops out of them.
Well,
It's
dude,
like
you're buying things that are like decades old. Buy something new.
I mean,
I tried to buy an iMac off Apple. The Apple store's closed.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No. Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Xbox One, like, isn't that the old one? Like, we're on to the new Xbox.
Well, no, whatever the Xbox One is, whatever the one that's now, that's what I'm trying to buy.
Oh,
And
no, you want to really get into the seediness, try buying a Switch.
Yeah. My girlfriend tried to buy a Switch. She ordered it, special express shipping, got here like 2 months later.
Yeah. It's like there's something going on outside, right? There might be something impeding the mail, I think.
It's the electronics, isn't that it's just not, the ships aren't coming in, or why is there no electronics?
It's a combination of that. It's a combination of everybody being at home needing new electronics. It's just, we're all home. We all want to play Switch. We all want to play Xbox. There's just not enough to go around.
Right.
And everybody's like stopping production to make sure that we, stay alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Like apparently that's taken a huge turn for us, is that we're trying to stay alive. We're trying to make masks. We have to like actually do things for ourselves because we can't trust this this guy who wants us to inject our lungs with detergent and sunshine.
It doesn't work? That's not working?
Well, you can try. I mean, I didn't take his recommendation of, just inhaling the virus to try and cure myself from it. So
right.
Thing you can try.
Oh, and we lost Raul.
Yeah.
Too. Raul too.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a bummer.
You can still buy Apple products and have them shipped to you.
Oh, okay.
How long is
They
it
do have an online store. They're revolutionary in that sense.
Right.
But
Yeah.
don't think you could do that with Lego. Lego is not as prepared as Apple. I can attest to that.
Well, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll buy one of those off of Apple. Yeah, that's true. Because I went on their thing and all the stores are closed. But yeah, you could just get it right there. I was a little suspicious on how long it would take for me to get it, but whatever.
It's getting better now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most of my Amazon packages are here within 2 or 3 days now. So.
What?
Well, I'm not in San Francisco. Nobody told you to move up there? I mean, this is what I've learned today from this whole thing. Frank moved up there and he took one picture of the bridge.
That was a beautiful picture, Frank.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's cropped a little weird, but okay.
Wow. Ouch.
I never seen a shot like that of that bridge, like at that angle. And
that was the goal.
Well, clearly you haven't been to the Peter Lick Gallery.
No, I probably haven't.
The Armagosa version's the best one.
You go out of your way to make the image like the Grand Canyon, and that image, you go out of your way to get a unique perspective.
I mean, the last image was taken up here too, Marin Headlands.
All right, I gotta go, guys.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. I want to talk to the manager.
Jeez.
Now we all got bigger now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of us stayed the same size if we had our view this way.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so just one page left.
Oh, right. Yeah, but they're wonderful. Your imagery is really beautiful, inspirational, and totally. The reason I wanted to do these was because I felt like a lot of people on a road trip right now, and I, and I don't right now. I'm a paper photographer. I have no desire to shoot, less than a foot away from me and then put that picture up on my feed that I look at on social media. I enjoy looking at skateboard pictures right now because I feel like I've been conditioned, afraid of people, to equate human beings with death, and so I'm interested in photography that's far away, open spaces and super a long time ago, because like today just seems such a bummer to me. You know, so I really enjoyed your selections. It was really, really enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
You brought a lot of memories for me too, Frank, for those scenes you took. Because I've been to those places, and thank you for that.
Of course. Thank you. That was the goal.
God, I still can't get over the bison though. God, I know the traffic. It's just
So
pure
funny.
comic. I was hoping when I went last in 2011. I was hoping to see some moose. Nope. Yeah.
yeah.
One day I want to see moose. That's one animal I'd love to see in person, but I don't want to get near them either. That's another thing.
Yeah, territorial.
Yes.
That shot was gorgeous, you know, and it really did, for me, imply, you know, like a medium or large format sheet film. As a matter of fact, I have an uncle that was a photographer, and he sent me a bunch of stuff to develop. And one of the shots came shot, you know, in color. Just the vibe of it, you know, it really had that you know, that look. So it was amazing you did that. I mean, it almost, to me, it looked like at first glance an image that was from back in the day that you totally had cleaned up.
Right.
Yeah. So it really was, for me, it was really effective. Amazing.
Let's say.
So are you interested in doing one of these, David?
Oh, I don't know if I can find 7 images for my vacation photos.
Yeah.
I mean,
How about 3?
What's entailed?
The minimum is 4.
No, it's just you just find images that are of you know, road trip or open spaces or landscape. And you just find, you know, however many, whether it's, I started off at 10, but now if you can just find 3, because it's really hard for me to find stuff too.
I'm going to talk you down to 1, and then I will just sit here talking about 1 image for 2 hours.
That'd be fine. I mean, this is, you know, we're making this up right here. So
Oh, really? I couldn't tell. It feels very smooth with no, no transitional hiccups at
did it
all.
make you a little nervous?
Are you nervous? Oh yeah,
Well,
I don't thrive off of chaos.
I've been doing these skateboard ones, and I just like basically I'd have maybe a 40, you know, old skateboarders, and some of them very, very famous, you know, and I don't say a word, you know, and they just all look at each other. They're just you know, but then they eventually start to just take it over, you know. I like that, you know. I don't like format so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't like podcasts that start with theme songs and a bunch of rhetoric and comparison.
Oh, you have to do the rhetoric because that's how you get
Not
the
my
sponsors.
podcast.
The sponsors are part of the rhetoric, and they're the ones who pay for effects like this.
Wow.
By the way, my version of this podcast was brought to you by SpaghettiOs. It's the only thing I've been eating during the coronavirus, and I have gained 30 pounds.
Well, if you want to do one, you know, I would love to do one with you. You know, you wonderful photographer, and
Give me at least an hour.
yeah, I'm trying to do these one a day. So you know,
Ooh,
that's
when can
it.
you pencil me in?
We got plenty of time this week. I think tomorrow we have Shauna Reel. She's a female skateboard photographer, and Tuesday's Jana Payne, and then maybe Wednesday or Thursday, if you're available.
I'll have my people contact you.
Okay. So you know, I was excited to see Frank's photography, and this is just a bonus. Butts Carlton drops in here. I mean, you know, been calling him for like 2 months.
Yeah, well, you know, when Frank calls, you got to take that call.
Wow, man, I should have called Frank.
Love that.
I mean, he's who I contact when I want to contact Stamos now. So
Frank is.
yeah, Frank.
That's awesome.
I mean, he lives near the Full House house.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll
That's
just
right.
go knock on the door.
Isn't that where Stamos hangs out nowadays? Aren't they doing the last season?
Probably. Who knows? I talked to him last night. He didn't mention that, but you know, he's probably at that facade. Yeah.
I mean, like all empty now, so you can just walk around casually.
Yeah. Is it still that way? Because down here it's starting to kind of, people are going out now. And
Yeah, but down here people are idiots.
Yeah, there's people protesting down there. There's nobody protesting up here.
right.
Yeah, you guys got hit pretty badly, so you guys are smart enough to know. No, we have all the fucking Orange County housewives that are like, it's been 2 months, so it's dead, okay?
Jeez.
There's some truth to that. People do feel that maybe not, maybe they're tired of having to be safe. I don't know.
Well, have they gotten
They're tired
tested?
of being told what to do. They're not used to like people telling them what to do for 2 months.
That's for sure. That's a part of it, I'm sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of entitleism going around.
Too. Because if there's no new cases and there's no new tests being taken, then like, of course, there's going to be no new cases.
Right.
Yeah, well, we don't have tests to take, so therefore there's no new cases. So therefore we win.
I mean, ultimately, it'll end up in the morgue will tell us, right? If the morgue begins to really fill up, then we know that.
You do realize, like, the morgue can only contain so many things. That's why we have big old freaking holes that they've just been throwing bodies in.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But if like with everybody out mingling now, say in a month from now, we might get another medical crisis going,
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's definitely going to happen. It's not even a if. It's a when it's going to spike because of this. And
right.
It's really stupid.
Well, maybe if it is stupid, then maybe that's sort of a thinning thing, where it'll thin out the dumb people.
Oh, well, I already said if we stay in our place until 2021, then we are just going to have a live action view of Darwinism happening.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Hopefully,
I am that fucking mammal that hid under a rock when he saw a meteor coming down and wiped out the dinosaurs. That's who I'm going to be. I'll see you guys in another year for the ice.
Do we know that it will even be resolved by 21?
No, it won't. It's just we're going to possibly have some sort of plan by then.
That'd be nice to have a plan. That's
Mhm.
that's what's been stressing me out, is that there just doesn't seem to be any structure to hang on to.
Here's the real secret that you need to pay attention to if you want a plan to happen by 2021.
Yeah.
Don't vote for Trump.
But that's a political thing. I mean, you really think politics can solve this?
It's a common sense thing is what it is. The dude can't even say the same thing from day to day. Dude, you can call it a political thing all you want, but this fucking idiot has made every step harder. And like you've seen the rest of the world, we are in the worst position because of the lack of decisions or the few decisions that he's made.
It's probably all strategic, but regardless,
because he wants to kill us?
No matter who you have in the White House,
yeah,
we still are battling a virus, aren't we? I mean, this is a battle against.
Yes, it's a battle that we were prepared for around the Obama administration, and then he fired every single fucking person that would have prepared us for this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was probably in hindsight that was not a good thing, right?
Well, I mean, yes, in hindsight, but this is what I mean, when he came in, the first thing he did was fire 10-20% of the staff.
I know. I heard about that. Yeah. I know. I'm not arguing about it. I'm just saying that at the bottom of all this is that there's this virus that wants to kill us. It doesn't want to kill us. It wants to live, right? Mm-hmm. Critically thinking, there's a virus that wants to live, and we want to live too, right? That's really what this is all about, isn't it? It's not really political, is it?
Well, I really haven't gotten into the motivation of the virus, but yeah, I suppose.
Well, I would assume if you're talking Darwinism, it wants to survive. It wants to keep going, right?
It wants to replicate is what the virus wants to do.
It's like us.
It has enough cognizance to want to live.
Well,
I don't think we've reached the point of realization for self-awareness of a virus. God, I hope we haven't.
A podcast that I was listening to that was featuring these top scientists and stuff. And what makes this virus so unique and adaptable is that when it replicates itself, it doesn't replicate itself perfectly, like literally almost every other virus and every other cell. So it's able to. That's why there's like 3 different strains within the first month.
Yeah.
And so it's doing something that we've never been prepared for.
Okay. I didn't know that.
With that being said, there was like a plan, like, hey, these are the stages we need to go through to prevent a pandemic, to prevent, these other pandemics that we've learned from,
Yeah.
and possibly a new one. And these are the different kinds of ways we could do it. And then suddenly those staff that did all that were fired.
Yep.
And so
Really?
so was that plan. And then it was blanketed with like, we're doing a great job, whatever. And the way we've been addressing this is the way what we learned from Spanish influenza.
Yeah. The 1918. Yeah.
Which is different, but like, it just we're trying to catch up now. And it's
Which we didn't want to do.
No.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who wants to? Yes, it was unpredictable, but it was unpredictable in a way that people were already predicting before they got fired.
Yeah.
It's really irritating to see that our leadership is a fucking hurdle and not a help. And I'm not trying to be political, but
No, I'm not, and I'm not steering you away from that. I'm just saying that in the end, this is going to be solved by a scientist or a team of scientists,
yes, a team of scientists,
regardless of who's of
the government
country
stuff.
or political origin or
People who believe in science.
people who live in science. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I just actually read an article last night, and it was done by CNET, so I haven't even gone through to see if anyone else is saying the same thing. But apparently, they said 40% of all Republicans that they asked believe that Bill Gates is somehow installing microchips in the vaccine that they're developing.
God,
That's where all the electronics are going.
That's where all your electronic.
that's why I can't get an iMac. Okay. All right, now it all makes sense. I don't know. I don't think that seems like a high number because I know a lot of people who are Republican who don't. They're sheltering in and they're not buying into everything. I mean, that's the thing about this is not a divisive thing. It's actually a unifying thing. This virus.
You're also looking at the bubble of California, though. We tend to have a few more rational Republicans over here. You want to go out in the Bible Belt Midwest and see their kind of Republicans? They're kind of a different breed.
Who still don't believe that the Earth is round.
But I still think if they start dying, they'll make adjustments.
You think so?
I
mean, have you seen?
I wouldn't want to die, no matter what I believe in.
When they're dying,
What? Say that
there's
again?
a lot of rationalization going on as a person's dying.
That is true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I
right.
don't know. I just
Well,
don't have any
always
faith in
something
humanity at this point.
You don't have faith in what?
Humanity.
Humanity.
Like I really feel. Okay, I take that back. I do, because as soon as I start feeling this way, I then see the good that people are doing, and that, thank God, keeps me going. But it really feels like there's a lot of stupid out there.
I think there always was. I mean, that's just a part of the breakdown, isn't it?
Yeah, there has always been a lot of stupid, but they become a lot more vocal since King Stupid took office.
Yeah. And stupid will always surprise you.
Stupid does always surprise you. They're always the wild
card. Went out.
It's a wild card, you're saying?
Yeah. It's like Charlie from It's Always Sunny. He will always find a way to surprise you.
Well, it's fun to talk about this with you, with all three of you, because you guys are intelligent, and it's great. It's great to hear people talking. And again, I'm not talking politically. I just mean you guys are very intelligent people.
Yeah.
And it's that to me is comforting, because you don't want to be thinking that the world is unintelligent. That would be kind of scary.
Hold on, I need to change my background back, because that's how I feel of the world right now. There we go. Fine.
I'm surprised I haven't got to that point yet, honestly. After the first week, I was like, I had my go bag prepared. I was like, okay, at any minute, there's going to be fires everywhere, and toilet paper is going to be thrown at people.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, like, if it hasn't been for, like, the few people who have stepped up, we would have gotten to that point already.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's like we're fighting this despite the hurdle instead of actually having help. Like, you know what? Fuck it. I am being political. If Obama was in the office, we would not be in this situation. I keep trying to like suppress this like urge to be political because for what?
No,
though?
I'm not saying that.
Political.
I'm just saying I don't.
The stupidest fucking person. God. I said it the night it happened. I was in. We were in the freaking. We watched it happen at Cyprus. There was a whole like slew of us watching the world slowly die. We were crying together.
I remember that day. I was there. Yeah.
Fuck Trump. www.fucktrump.com. If it's
I just think that this thing is not political. I just think that this thing and then the world's in on it's not our president, it's the world. They all don't want to die. So, everybody's going to have to try to figure a way out of this.
But have you seen the numbers? The rest of the world is doing pretty good. Have you seen Germany?
Yeah.
Yeah, they handled it great. John Ray is going back now, thanks to him.
Are you making that up?
Well, you can never really call him John Ray. He said it a few times.
I ran into him the other day, maybe right before this all happened at Cypress College in the parking lot. Yeah. And
that sounds ominous.
It was because I saw him in a parking lot. I saw him at the H Mart on Beach Boulevard just randomly like a year before that. I love that guy. He's great. I hope he's back.
I've talked to him a couple times. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's as okay as John Ray can be.
I know, but he's so great. He's such a character.
He is.
Yeah. But so that's what I'm saying though. But let's say they all fix it, then eventually we'll be fixed, right? It's not like we're an island, right?
Well, I mean, isn't every piece of land an island? If we're technically speaking. Oh, we lost him.
All this political speak.
Yeah. Well, he's never liked political things. He's never liked things that he has to take a side in.
He said he has to help his mom.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's
got to go and cancel some support Trump checks, and I don't know.
It sure is good to see you, David.
It's nice to see you too, Ken. Virtually.
Yeah. It's almost real.
It's almost real, yes. Putting it. I can almost feel the heat in this room.
I mean, if you're going to be on a Zoom chat in the whole grid mode, having a fire behind you, that's a pretty good way to do it.
All right, so we wrapping this up? Is that what's going on?
Sure. If we're wrapping it up, yeah.
It just sounds like you're giving your Springer-esque final thoughts.
Oh, I have no straw. If I have to go to the bathroom, I get up and go to the bathroom. What?
It's the way you're doing it. So what have we learned today? We've learned
No,
Frank traveled
not
the
true.
world.
Not true. I've been doing these skateboard ones, and people just like lay down, and they just. I mean, one of them went 6 hours.
Oof.
I'm not asking for that, but I'm just saying, people are zooming right now.
If I go that long, I'll at least have 3 pictures.
Yeah. I guess I missed your snark, David. That's one of the things I missed.
That is, that's something I have in abundance. It's a little more potent lately.
That's good.
I'm trying to think of what pictures I would use.
It was so difficult for me because I have family pictures and I have skateboarding pictures, but I never take scenery. So,
well, but that's what I'm thinking. Like I've been staging my pictures for like the last 3 years. I can't have unstaged pictures.
You have to go back further. That's the thing. I had to get old hard drives out, and mine was a road trip, up to Mammoth that I did maybe 6 years ago. So I had to get old drives out to put it together.
I can do like old Comic-Con pictures and like, hey, look, here's another pair of tits.
Landscape.
That's the kind of scenery that I like to take pictures of back in the day.
Well, there's
Wow,
no,
look at
no
that
rules.
half dress. Wow, that is considered a costume, huh? Just those tassels on your boobs. Okay, click.
Yeah, if that's your road trip, that's your road trip, you know?
I don't know. I'll think about it.
The Great American Road Trip.
At the very least, I can join someone else's and just kind of take over.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime. I don't know. I don't know any other Cyprus people that, let's see. Oh, well, Grace and together.
Oh, when has knowing the person ever kept me from just going out and saying something?
That's what Conan's been doing.
What's that?
Conan's been bombing Zoom calls.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that. That's fantastic.
Look it up on YouTube.
That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Didn't we all go to Conan together? Were you there, Frank? Yeah, we
Yeah.
all went together, huh?
I actually have that picture somewhere in my house of all of us.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Good times.
Yep.
Hopefully in the next couple of years.
So is there any way we can see who's watching on Facebook Live?
Yeah, if you just did I text you the
On this,
link?
I really haven't looked elsewhere.
If you look at the link, but the thing is that it's not going to tell us. Yeah, on the very top of the chat, there's a link right there.
Is there a number? I just want to know if there's like anybody still here, or if we just completely cleared it out. There it is. Let's see. Hello. There's a 4-second delay.
Is it?
Yeah. Ken Hada is live now. Click on that. Oh, there's actually 4 people watching. Hi, 4 people.
But that probably means that when this is done, what'll happen is it'll go into the Facebook video system,
Mhm.
and then I'll get like an insight on it, and so probably this probably was seen by anywhere from 200 to 400 people, but not in its entirety. Meaning that
Oh no, they definitely tuned out as soon as I said "fuck Trump." I have no doubt in that. They're like, oh, this is going to be political now? No.
only half would tune out, right? Not all of them.
I would hope so, but I don't know. There's some weird people that are coming to his defense.
That's when it got political, that's when I got bummed out. Like in the very beginning, it was almost like the whole world took a pause, and then as soon as it got political, I was like, oh well, then I guess we are going to live,
Does anything with him not get political though? Like,
But I just mean people in general. Like I was happy to be non-political for like those 3 days where we all thought we were going to die.
Oh, I was very political. I was clawing at it, just cussing at him the whole time. I didn't stop being political.
Oh, it's a great vacation to not be political, I think so.
Don't you just become like ignorant of what's going on though? If you're like,
You'd definitely be less stressed.
I don't believe in politics. I think it's just a man-made construct, and
well, yeah, but so is money. But do you believe in that?
I don't really believe in money either. I mean, I know you have to have it, but I don't really believe that it makes our lives better as human beings. You're just going to be born and you're going to die, and I'm not saying don't have money. I'm not saying don't be political, but I don't think they're necessarily essential.
They aren't essential, unless you want to be part of society. You can go off in the nature of the world as long as, someone political doesn't say you can't live here. And
yeah,
you can be happy without it. But
and other countries have different aspects and perspective on money or politics, et cetera,
Well, yeah, I mean, we're run a capitalist society.
Than Americans have. It's always been like, you need to get what's yours. This is owed to you. You are entitled to this. You need to get this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And it's become like a sense of generational trauma.
for Americans to have to do so much and take over so much that that's also why there's been like such a difficult transition and why people hate socialism so much. The idea.
Yeah.
You're saying, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but each generation is able to grab less and less of what the previous generation was able to grab.
Right.
And so that feeling is spread.
But why should you have to grab anything, you know? Like, why should your whole life ambition be to get in a 30-year fix, you know, die and go to a nice hospital when you die, you know? I mean, aren't there other options as a human being?
Well, yeah, you can go dig a hole out back and lay in it until you're gone, but
And it's your hole.
and it's your hole.
Or
I think there's even more than that. I think it's not just like being, you know, super, you know, American guy and digging a hole, but there's other stuff in that spectrum, isn't there? Aren't there other things, other levels of?
I'll have to talk to somebody who's been abroad. Do we have anybody who's taken pictures outside of the country?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Grace is all going to be Asian. I got a drummer friend from, I've known him since the 9th grade, and he's living in Argentina right now, but he used to live in Italy, and he doesn't like America very much. He doesn't really believe in all of our, you know, the whole ideology here. And
Well, he's probably right. We live in an ideology, or we live in a world or a country that 2% can thrive, maybe.
that's if you define thriving by attaining wealth. Is that what you mean?
Well,
Having power.
I'm saying thrive within the constructs of the way we built the society. So yes, it would have to be wealth based. That's how this is. That's how capitalism's designed, is to thrive off of the labor and backs of other people who can't.
Right.
I mean, that's what we've accepted, and honestly, like, that's what politicians are. Their whole job is trying to get you to accept the fact that this is your place, even though they're not quite directly saying that.
Right. And don't you think this disease for a moment removed us from that?
For a moment, yeah. But then, I mean, look at the world now. Entitleism has returned. Everyone is jumping back in.
Because it's scary to forge your own path, right?
Well,
it's
they didn't know how to release from material objects and material things and like focus on yourself and your family and growing as a person instead of having to, you know, work all these jobs, having to get all these Costco sized things, you know.
Right.
fighting for toilet paper with your fear and
yeah.
And a lot of people who are protesting and who want things to go back to the way they are.
They were, yeah.
They were. They are like, oh, I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want to be a sheep. And it's like, well, there's a lot of people who aren't sheep, who are themselves and who are content with that. So they don't need to lash out to other people. They don't need to try to control other people, you know? So
yeah,
it's just been really polarizing.
A great place for me to point out that I am now starting a Kickstarter where I'm going to just buy a plot of land and build my own cult. And
they did that in the 60s. They had communes. And
you do that everywhere you go, David.
Yeah.
What, start a cult everywhere I go?
You do.
Okay, I'll take it. Well, but this time I need money from it, so I need to support your cult leader, and you can do that financially. You can do that if you're attractive, no gender specifics. If you're attractive, you can be part of my harem.
Wow.
Yes, I live in a very fluid society now, so.
This was just a natural thing to me, David, for you to do that because
honestly, people have asked me where my cult is. I've been making this joke for a while, and some people are actually like,
it doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, you need to join my cult.
What's your cult?
The cult of 18.
The cult of 18. I'm way too old for that.
The cult of 18% gray.
Oh, 18% gray. Oh, no, that's, yeah. I'm way too vivid for that.
This is a great Cypress College reunion right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many fucking times was it literally just the three of us in that room for hours?
Normally, Frank had his nose in the computer.
Yeah,
I never really got to talk to Frank. And I'd look at this wonderful black and white stuff he's working on. He didn't
But
say
I'd
much,
also have to go to work too. So
Yeah.
I'd be talking and then be late to work and then head out to work.
Yeah. That place is I go there, I still go there, but I go there because the ATM is less touched than other ATMs.
It's actually pretty
Smart. Yeah.
smart, and you just fuck that up by saying it to these fours and fours of people listening.
Yeah, all four of them, all 400 or whatever it is they're
And
gonna.
now the ATM is
If
touched.
they have the
by four more
teachers
people.
credit union, they're gonna be down there.
Dude, I didn't even think of that. I've been going to the stupid actual credit union. Not even.
Don't go there,
Oh,
dude.
you're debt. Well, obviously, I'm like gloved, and I know how to take care of myself.
I still do it even at the Cypress one, but in the Cypress one, I literally have never had a single person behind me while I did my transaction ever.
Well, I've been to the bank twice, and I may have had one person behind me.
Mm.
Like it's just we're being courteous.
Yeah, right.
And
That's
then
where I go.
Lather myself in.
And they have the at Cypress College. They have the what do you call it? The parking lot's open so that people can go, students can go there and use the Wi-Fi to finish to work on their shit.
Oh, trust me, I know all about the drive-in Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
We've had many discussions about the way Cypress is going. Remember, my mom still works there, so I know all the
okay.
stuff coming in.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, how are they gonna do a dark room anymore? It's so communal.
Not.
Yeah, right.
They're just not.
They're closing the soup plantation. They're closing the dark rooms, right?
Well, Sioux Plantation is closing themselves because they just realized that they cannot sustain in the way society is currently.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
But nor could a communal dark room, right?
No, and no, dark room's gone. I'm telling you, if they open up the dark room, it's going to be an appointment-based thing, and I don't think there's a way that they can sustain that.
True. There you go. Appointment based. Right.
Interesting. I know there's a dark room I'm following in New York that's, I think, still going.
There you go. That solves it.
But New York and Portland, there's an actual film community. I feel like Cypress is
Yeah, but
less.
you're also talking about literally a privately owned dark room that maybe 2 people are in at any given point. He's
Right.
talking about like a public school dark room where you need to facilitate generously maybe 40 students at a time.
30 or 40 at a time, yeah, and 2 or 3 times a day, 30 or 40.
Yeah, there's no way that they can do that.
Yeah.
Like I know OCC is just not having any physical classes like that.
No, I don't see how anybody could. Or how do you throw, clay, and how do you learn to cut up dead bodies for the mortuary if you can't,
Well, that I think they need to make it a way to do that because that's going to be the most successful endeavor for quite a while.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of money, right? Go there and do
I
that.
wasn't saying a lot of money, just a lot of bodies.
You
Yeah.
need more workers for sure.
And then
I think they are doing well. They can kind of do that in the mortuary because everywhere else is closed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
okay.
I mean, you can probably funnel into like one of those and put enough resources to making one of those go, but there's no way you can do it for all of them. And I have a feeling since mortuary science is so big at Cypress and it's a huge money generator that that's probably going to be the winner.
That makes sense. Yeah. So maybe the wet lab will become, a place where they'll put in, drain blood out of
Extra
people.
bodies, just throw some bodies in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Put them in the dark room.
We're out of formaldehyde. Oh, it's okay. We got some developer. We'll just throw
Yeah.
them
What
on.
is this stuff here? Yeah.
I think that's a good request. Use a developer instead of formaldehyde for my body.
And then they're going to go to the cafeteria and get some Worcestershire sauce. It's all the same thing. It's just vinegar.
Yeah. So sad, now I have to, build a print room in my garage, and I don't want to do that, but I have to, and
Oh, darn. I have to do this thing. You were just talking about how cool it is that we get to do our own thing, go our own way. And you're like, oh, I have to do that.
I liked having it. I liked having that Cypress College pay for all that, the disposal and They gave me my own room there. I was doing this independent study.
What?
They
Because you
literally built me a room. What's that?
because you were the only person still there.
No,
Nobody else left.
it actually became it was they're running along. You know, that's a whole different. It just became like art premise. Like the previously it was all these people that made a living at photography, and
Mhm.
everything was about like, oh, what are you doing? How do you do that? What do you charge for that? And then
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna go do that. And then it became this thing where like, what's your story?
Yeah.
You know, like what do you believe in? What so if you have a story, you know, then you photograph about your story, and then that's what's on the walls. So all those dudes that are there now, they're all people from like Cerritos and all these different places, but they're all, you know, like what do you call it, Frank, when you make pictures about like your brother has, you know, schizophrenia and he's using crystal meth because he
I
doesn't have
feel
enough
like
money to get,
a
you know.
documentary
So that's called bullshit.
well, I feel like that's what San Francisco's definitely been for me.
Right.
It's coming from LA, where it's mostly about who you know and like what you're doing for work and how to do that for work. Coming up here, it's like, hey, what's your story? You know, where are you from? And like actually getting to know me as an artist and a human being.
And using the visual language to describe something about you, right? Or something that you believe
or
in.
about someone I know or like, you know, have ties to without appropriating their story.
Totally. So that's what that thing became. And I learned a lot from these new guys. You know, they have a different approach. You know, it would have been cool if it was all of it. It would have been
Right.
cool if it was the balance, but it kind of all went that other way. So, you know, I can walk there. That's why I'm so sad that the wet lab's closed. And it's like selfishly, you know, for me, it was a great resource.
I don't know. I feel like I tied this into capitalism somehow. Give me a couple more minutes.
Everything ties into capitalism. Capitalism, Downey, and Kevin Bacon. Everything ties into those.
I mean, I've still got plans of stuff I want to do. I still have ambitions,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just making me think a different way, I guess, about it. You know, trying to achieve that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to hit up half the models that I'm watching going out and being like, "Woo! I don't care about this 2020."
Yeah, yeah. It's the same in skateboarding. There's old people that they're looking at young people that, of course, they're doing that. They're not going to die, you know.
Yeah.
But old people that maybe some of these people are in charge of things. They're definitely looking at young people like, oh, if you ever try to get a job through me, you're not going to get it.
Exactly. I'm honestly paying attention, and I'm trying not to be that way because I mean, you know, maybe they just don't understand, and they just don't have the right person telling them in a way that they understand.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to fucking slug them.
Yeah. So, and that's why that's why I started doing the Zooms, you know, because I got sick of what I was seeing. So I just wanted to make something else to look at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here you go. This is what you're looking at now.
Yeah. It's great. This is one of the best ones right here. Mr. Snark, Mr. San Francisco Art School. How can you beat this?
Good name. Hold on.
It's all downhill from here.
Well, we'll have to do more then.
Yeah. You chimed in on one recently, right, Frank? Who was that? What was that one? You're working. You're like on your break. I loved it. You're like in the break room at Whole Foods, and you're like,
it was the Real
It's Whole Foods. I love that.
It was awesome. It was
But,
freaking awesome.
Hasn't been Whole Foods for a long time though, has it?
Oh no, what is it now? It was another place.
The Real.
Oh yeah, you're like in a warehouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's working for
Well,
Amazon.
I didn't know what the Facebook thing is to join a room, so I thought it was like
it's the
could join
room
somewhere where it's broadcasting. I didn't know I'd join like a FaceTime call.
Yeah, and it wasn't. That one wasn't. That's just a room, I believe. I don't believe that's saved. That
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I just never had done it. So I thought, what is this? I just pushed the button, start a room, Ken's room, and then I guess it invited everybody that I know on Facebook. All 5 of you showed up. You know.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Look at David. He's thinking about something.
I'm
What do you
trying to
divide?
remember how to change stuff.
Oh.
I'll just wait till the next one. You gave me my next name.
I'm gonna have to head out though.
Okay.
About lunchtime.
Thanks for doing this, Frank. I really appreciate it. It was really good.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
Me too. I always enjoy like our discussions. The way you interview is really fluid, but like it could come off as structured, if that makes sense. But only in the sense where it's like there's a few questions that I may or may not ask, but it's really cool.
Doesn't make sense. What you
It's like there's questions I want to ask. Here's maybe 2 or 3 questions, and you end up asking like 5 questions and add a couple stories, and like it's very fluid from a small foundation.
You know, it's all based on. I know you got to go, but it's all based on Spinal Tap. I learned that I learned that they. Did you ever see that movie?
A long time ago, yeah.
We all love Spinal Tap.
So what they did is they studied these characters from their childhood till then, and there's no scripting, and so they would just have scenarios like, okay, this is the first concert, or this is the pre-party, or whatever, and everything you saw in that movie was not scripted, and that's the best stuff to me, you know, because as soon as you tell somebody, you know, say this, it's so phony, and so I always come into these things without any expectation, and if something triggers my ADD, then I just ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it might seem that way, but there's literally no structure to these. One skateboarder told me that I light the fuse and it just blows up, you know?
Yeah.
Is that why you give a face before you start talking? Because that's like your ADD being triggered. Just like, I need to say something now.
What did I do? What did I do before I start talking?
No, I'm just pulling shit out of my ass at this point. Sorry.
Yeah, but thanks, Frank.
Of course. Thank you.
Don't get sick.
Of course not.
That's my new thing, David. I say don't get sick. You know,
Has it worked?
There's like yeah. So far, nobody's that I've said that to.
You must be the cure then, sir.
Ken Hot is the cure.
There you
See
go.
you soon.
Podcast. Ken Hot is the cure.
All right, David, you're on the hook now.
I'm on the hook. I'm done. If it's just you and me, man.
No, I'm saying you're on the hook to do a little what do they call it?
One of these things.
Yeah, one of
these, whatever they're called, things.
This is called the road trip photos.
I'm gonna use that as loosely as possible.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit you up. Answer your damn phone.
All right. I will promise to try and call back if I don't answer.
At least fucking text back, dude. All right, later.
All right. Love you, man.